Tonight on Cronkite News. After a 7-year absence, IndyCar is making a return to Phoenix Raceway, but it's coming with a twist.
A powerful hailstorm leaves a winter wonderland across the valley, catching many residents off guard. Find out what's next for our forecast.
Plus, find out why some athletes are turning to a nostalgic treat to keep them going. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Courtney DeWallaby.
And I'm Keon Russell. Thank you for joining us.
Starting off in the world of college basketball, the Arizona Wildcats are now 5-0 on the season after a fiery game against the UConn Huskies. Scoring was led by Jaden Bradley. The senior guard dropped 21 against a UConn team that just beat number 9 ranked BYU. The only other Wildcat who took more shots than Bradley, Koa Pete, the freshman from Perry High School, had 16 points in a game that ended 71-67. Both head coaches found key takeaways after the big game.
My whole mindset coming into this game was, we've gotten off to a good start this season. And, and let's be honest, the Florida game could have went another direction. The UCLA game could have went another direction. So let's not act like we've, got all the world's problems solved. But we're having a lot of incredible experiences, and we have a new team, a young team, and, with some great veteran leadership. I was really looking forward to getting through this game, no matter what the result was. And having an incredible 2 weeks where we can get better.
I mean, we got punked. We punked out. It's going to be a bad film session coming out of here where there are people. There's a street fight going on in the paint, and men can't watch fights. Men, you can't stand on the outside. When your buddies are in a fight, you get in the fight.
Bradley and Pete will have to keep scoring if they want to keep knocking off elite teams. They're averaging 16-plus points each, and they'll need them all if they keep playing in close games. The Wildcats won't have a ranked opponent for the rest of November, but start December with Auburn and Alabama back-to-back. Talk about a tough schedule.
Now, Courtney, while the Sun Devils may not have the ranked wins the Wildcats do, ASU is 3-1 on the season with the potential for another win here tonight. The Sun Devils play the University of Hawaii in Hawaii tonight at 10 p.m. The Hawaiian Rainbow Warriors are 4-1 with a win over a similar opponent in Utah Tech. The Sun Devils will stay in Hawaii for the Southwest Maui Invitational. Their group has other solid programs like NC State, USC, and Texas. ASU will play Texas in the first round starting next week.
The IndyCar Series is coming back to the Phoenix Raceway for the first time since 2018. And not only is IndyCar Series returning, but they are returning in a highly anticipated doubleheader with NASCAR this March. Cronkite News reporter Lainey Napoli was off to the races as Indy Series drivers were out testing the track and tires this week.
Phoenix Raceway is hosting the first ever doubleheader with NASCAR and the IndyCar Series. This will be the second race to start off the IndyCar Series and the first time these two races take place on the same day.
If you're coming here on Saturday, you're getting a double header, meaning that you can go to both an IndyCar race and a NASCAR race, and which is not something that we've done before.
With the IndyCar Series returning to the Phoenix Raceway for the first time since 2018, fans will see a different style of race than what's usually expected with NASCAR. With an expanded dogleg and an oval track, drivers like Scott Dixon and Alexander Rossi are out today testing parts and getting themselves familiar with the track.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference with IndyCar racing is the speed. I don't even know, around here we may be 50 miles an hour faster on average, so it's a lot quicker.
For IndyCars, speed is the name of the game. And ahead of race day, Dixon and Rossi were testing the Firestone Firehawk tire. And since 2018, the track is not the only thing to have changed.
As it's been so long since we were here last, the cars have changed quite a bit, and from an aero package and obviously the addition of the windscreen. So it's important for us to understand what Firestone needs in order to not only make a durable tire, but a tire that puts on a great show for everyone.
Dixon and Rossi will officially hit the track on March 7th with NASCAR at Phoenix Raceway. In Avondale, Lainey Napoli, Cronkite News.
ASU football is headed to Colorado this weekend to take on the Buffaloes. Head coach Kenny Dillingham said his team is playing meaningful games with just 2 matchups left on the schedule. Win both, and they have an outside chance to contend for a conference title. But playing on the road is never easy, and despite their 1-6 conference record, the Buffaloes might be considered a trap game for the Sun Devils. Colorado has had a porous defense at times this year, which could give ASU quarterback Jeff Sims an opportunity to showcase himself in his 4th straight start of the season. But defensive coordinator Brian Ward warns against overlooking Deion Sanders' team.
They've lost 4 games by a score or less, so these guys could have a 7-3 record right now. A couple plays go their way, so they're a very talented team. They're good up front. They have talent. They have really 2 really talented quarterbacks. They're playing the freshman who they think the future is, but the senior is a dual threat, a runner. So we're preparing for both, and he can throw the football too. So they have really talented running backs. They got receivers that would start anywhere in the Big 12, and they're good players. So we have to be ready, and we have to play our best game.
Playing any sport requires a lot of energy, and many runners are turning to a familiar childhood snack for fuel. As Cronkite News reporter Kiana Stocks tells us, some endurance athletes are running on Rice Krispies.
We got this. See you at the end. To get to the end of one of these races, you'll need the fuel to get there. Go Gels and electrolyte packets have been a go-to for distance runners for decades.
We have some of our fixed time events where they're going around in circles, a third of a mile or a mile long, multiple times throughout the whole 24 hours, up to 6 days. So trying to add in some extra different treats that's different.
Runners reaching for a source of energy may now find a nostalgic sweet as one of the options. Rice Krispie treats have made their way to the trails. They were popular with runners at the Javelina Jundred at McDowell Mountain.
We have about 36 Rice Krispie treats back at our crew station, and it's definitely a fan favorite with our crew. So I think, if the pros use them, if folks are using them, I think it's great.
It's sugary, it's sticky, and most of us remember these from our childhood. Now endurance athletes are using this treat to stay fueled up for their races.
And so these Rice Krispie treats don't have any fiber and no fat. And so they're digested fairly quickly, which is what the athlete needs. They want that carbohydrate to go in the bloodstream, and the muscles are all primed. They're ready to take up carbohydrates from the bloodstream. They're primed because they're exercising so hard.
And these treats are a nice lower tech and lower cost solution for endurance athletes. A 10-pack of Go Gels ranges from $30 to $40, whereas a 40-pack of Rice Krispie treats can be purchased for $12, making it a pretty sweet deal. No matter your source of fuel, trainers know how valuable it is to take care of their athletes, anywhere from cooling them down or to switching shoes. But maintaining energy levels and hydration are the biggest priorities, especially in the Arizona desert.
Whatever quick sugar is easy on their stomach and they can get in, that's what we want.
So the next time you go for a long run, the treat known to snap, crackle, and pop might be the fastest fuel to help you hit your stride. In Fountain Hills, Kiana Stocks, Cronkite News.
Runners at the Javelina Jundred say Rice Krispie treats are optimal because they simply taste better than traditional bars. I agree, right, Keon?
I certainly do. A little too much.
Coming up next, Bulls, Bronx, and big crowds. Hondo's rodeo returns to Arizona. Riders are pushing the limits.
Yeah, Courtney, the high-stakes action and what's bringing record crowds to this 3-day event.
The World Series of Rodeo, because it is the best of the best, and we narrowed down to the best 8 in each event.
More than explosive.
I'm Lachlan McTagg in the Cronkite Weather Center, and will Thanksgiving be rainy? I know we've seen a lot of rain over the last couple days here. I'll have your answer and much more coming up next on the Full Forecast.
Welcome back. The Cardinals are at home this week to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars with a record of 3-7. Fans in the Valley have had to temper their season expectations down a bit. Jacoby Brissett says that inside the locker room, though, the vibes are high as the team tries to get off the mat.
Upbeat, to be honest with you. Guys are excited about the next opportunity that we have coming up this week. I thought we had a good team meeting this morning when Coach kind of laid out the focus for the week, and I think guys were receptive to that in practice and in meetings, and looking to springboard that process of day in and day out for the rest of this week and taking it a day at a time.
The Suns bounced back with a road win in Portland after losing their 5-game winning streak to Atlanta in that devastating fourth quarter comeback. Now they have a chance to record another W with a home game against Minnesota. These two teams are neck and neck in this tight Western Conference, sitting at 6th and 7th in the standings. We'll see where they end up later in the season, but for now, head coach Jordan Ott knows his team's depth will be important going forward in the season.
Yeah, and we just have different guys every night step up. Our depth has been tested. It's going to continue to be tested through 82. You see injuries across the league, so you never know who it's going to be. Everyone has to be ready, and then
the Hondo Rodeo celebrates the spirit of the West, and it recently galloped through Chase Field. Cronkite News reporter Alexandra Medina explored the largest rodeo in town.
It is the day thousands have waited for. The Hondo Rodeo is more than just another weekend event. It has become a way to celebrate Western culture and is the largest rodeo in the state of Arizona.
Seeing the crowds double in size every night has just been humbling.
From barrel racing to bareback riding, team roping, and steer wrestling, the Invitational Rodeo at Chase Field featured the greatest cowboys and cowgirls in the nation.
I say it's the World Series of Rodeo because it is the best of the best, and we narrow it down to the best 8 in each event.
And while the city of Phoenix has tipped its hats to rodeo athletes all weekend long, the excitement isn't slowing down. Jason Aldean and Riley Green are set to take the stage to close out the Hondo Rodeo in cowboy country fashion.
Certain that this would be a must-see event, rodeo fans Kevin and Jesselyn Brown made the trip from thousands of miles away.
We're from Canada. We came down. We love rodeo. We love country music.
I said, if we could be in Phoenix while Jason Aldean is here, this would be amazing, and it totally worked out. And today is our wedding anniversary day, and he's playing tonight.
The rodeo action had fans cheering all night, but the high-profile music artists and the crowd weren't the only ones dancing. The contestants battled it out, each aiming for their share of the $1 million prize purse.
Knowing that we have $1 million purse to give to the best in the rodeo business, there's a lot of pressure to make sure you invite the right cowboys and cowgirls.
We take the top 1%, so they're the best in the world.
For the rodeo athletes, the competition they face on the dirt is unlike anything else. But organizing an event of this size is not any easier.
It took us about 18 months to get the first one off, and then of course as soon as it was over in 2024, we're already starting to work on 25.
The Hondo Rodeo is adding New Orleans to its tour after the huge success in the Valley. In Phoenix, Alexandra Medina, Cronkite News.
Before you double check a map, yes, this is hail from Arizona. And no, we didn't borrow this video from Flagstaff. This happened right here in the Valley. So what's going on with our weather and what can we expect going into Thanksgiving? Lachlan McTagg joins us now from the Cronkite Weather Center. Lachlan, when was the last time we saw hail like this?
Yeah, Courtney, the last time we saw hail specifically here in the Valley like that was all the way back in October of 2010, so it's certainly been a while. But luckily for folks here in the Valley tonight, no need to worry about any hail or ice on the roads. Things will cool down to about 57 degrees by around 10 p.m. That'll cool down to just around 56 degrees here in Phoenix as we take a look at the rest of the state overnight. 29 degrees up in Flagstaff, 26 in Window Rock, and we see the cold temperatures spanning all the way through the eastern portion of the state. Taking a look at Friday Friday's highs. Not much of a change here. 65 degrees in Phoenix, statewide high as well in Gila Bend and Casa Grande. But we're talking about Window Rock again. A 22-degree swing in temperatures will be seen tomorrow. But it's not the swing in temperatures that's been the main focus of the weather forecasts here in Arizona. It's been these low pressure systems that have continued to hammer wet weather into Southern California and then push it into Arizona. And there's another storm that's hitting SoCal as we speak and will force more wet weather into the state over the weekend. As we fast forward here, the storm dips down to the south and then moves through the state as the weekend progresses. And taking a look at our 8-day forecast, you see that 70% chance of rain on Saturday. We won't quite get into the 70s at all this weekend. Lows in the mid-50s as well, but expect scattered rainstorms throughout the state and especially here in the valley all weekend long. But things will change as we head into next week. You'll see what I'm talking about here. We finally get into the 70s on Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, just in time for Thanksgiving. The skies clear out and the temperatures return to seasonal norms. Certainly something we can all be thankful for. In the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Lachlan McTagg. Keon and Courtney, back to you guys.
Thanks, Lachlan. Coming up next, a look at the news headlines from across our state.
That's right. Emergency crews rushed to a Valley Mall after part of the roof gave away. Find out what caused the collapse and what happened to the folks inside when we return after this quick break.
As a teacher, you just want to reach people. You want to make a difference. You want to help them. I have an opportunity to do something I never imagined I would be able to do. Go out and build the best biology class the world has ever seen. When you go into Dreamscape Learn, you put on a set of goggles and you can go anywhere. You can be anyone and do anything. The thing about Arizona State University is they're always thinking about what's next. We can create virtual reality experiences so that you can learn by exploring in a virtual world the way that scientists explore in the real world. And kids can feel that. All these emotions are what help the brain encode information. When I see a student come out of VR, the look on their face is nothing like I've ever seen when I finish a lecture. They look so happy to be there. In that moment, you know that you've reached them.
The scientists and engineers that support the next mission to Mars could be in this class.
Getting a degree at ASU is a journey that can take you anywhere. Into a world of groundbreaking technology and renowned award-winning faculty. Professors who help you to impact the world. Whether you're on campus or at home, becoming your best starts with learning from the best.
Welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Mario Medina. Here are today's headlines from across the valley. Some big names and politicians are here in the valley today, including the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert Kennedy Jr. Leaders from across the West are also here for the Western Governors Association. The annual meeting is a time to share ideas on how to best address the issues facing Western states. Our Izzy Ludlow is at the meeting and joins us now. Izzy, what are some of the main issues they're talking about?
We're here at the Omni Hotel in Scottsdale, where Western governors have already agreed to tackle issues like land management, housing, and disaster preparedness. The day started with a discussion about data centers and the balance between energy and needs for affordability. There was also a discussion about the Farm Bill, especially when it comes to land development and healthy forests. Secretary of the Interior Doug Burgum is discussing challenges to managing federal lands, which of course is a huge issue here in Arizona, where almost 40% of the land is federal. Also on the agenda, expanding high-speed internet access. The last keynote speaker, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., will be speaking at 4:45. This is a bipartisan meeting where we have Democratic Governor of Arizona, Katie Hobbs, along with Republican Governor of Utah, Spencer Cox. The energy has been super positive. There's been lots of laughs, along with important information about these issues facing Western states. In Phoenix, I'm Izzy Ludlow, Cronkite News.
Thank you, Izzy. The Western Governors Association typically meets twice a year. This summer, the WGA tackled issues such as the housing crisis, flood safety, and rural health care. In Washington, President Trump called 6 U.S. lawmakers, including Senator Mark Kelly, traitors who should be punished by death. The president was responding to a video released by 6 politicians who are all former members of the military or intelligence community. In the video, they remind current U.S. military they can refuse illegal commands. President Trump claimed on social media the message amounts to treason. In a joint statement late today, Senator Kelly and the lawmakers condemned the president's call for political violence. Desert Sky's mall roof partially collapsed last night. Phoenix fire crews say it was likely because of those storms we've been seeing in the valley. Inside, water covered parts of the floor. Outside, rain flooded sidewalks and blocked drains. No one was hurt. The area stayed under a flood watch throughout this morning. And though it may be cold now, in Phoenix, leaders are updating us with their response to the summer's extreme heat. The city says a 24/7 respite center and 3 extended hour cooling centers saw more than 44,000 visits. The city also says there were 111 hydration stations, cooling centers, and respite sites operating across the city. Phoenix Fire and partners also moved nearly 2,600 people to cooling centers and connected 751 people experiencing homelessness with services. City officials say the goal now is more regional cooperation and funding to help prevent future heat-related deaths. And now to the nation's capital, where the funeral for former Vice President Dick Cheney was held this morning. Cheney served as the 46th Vice President under George W. Bush. The remembrance showcased a bipartisan mix of former presidents and vice presidents. Although President Trump and Vice President Vance were not invited, Cheney had endorsed Trump's 2016 campaign. But last year, Cheney endorsed former Vice President Kamala Harris. Cheney's daughter gave a eulogy at the memorial referencing this decision.
Though he was inspired to service by President Kennedy, Dick Cheney became a Republican. But he knew that bonds of party must always yield to the single bond we share as Americans. For him, a choice between defense of the Constitution and defense of your political party was no choice at all.
And in consumer news, 119,000 jobs were added in September. The Bureau of Labor Statistics delayed their monthly report due to the government shutdown. Those numbers are an unexpected rebound for the labor market. However, unemployment rose to a near 4-year high at 4%. The report also revised August 22,000 jobs gains to a loss of 4,000 jobs. Vice President J.D. Vance praised the report and said it proves that Trump's economic plan is working.
What this shows is that the Trump economic policies are actually working. And you've got 119,000 new jobs. Economists thought that we would have about 50,000 new jobs, but that's actually just the headline number. If you look below the surface, I think the numbers are actually better. The best thing that you can say about the Trump economy is that American jobs are going to American workers for a change, and that's the thing that I'm proudest about with these numbers.
That's it for tonight's top headlines. I'm Mario Medina. Thank you for joining us. Now back to Courtney and Keon.
Coming up next, for the first time ever, the Jim Henson Company archives are hitting the auction block.
Yeah, and fans can now own a piece of entertainment history. From Miss Piggy's famous high heels to Muppets, fans will now have the opportunity to bid on hundreds of items. But you have to act soon. Find out why after the break.
This is where Cronkite can be creative.
For the first time ever, you can be the proud owner of a Jim Henson puppet or some memorabilia.
Of course, that's only if you're willing to pay. Items like Miss Piggy's shoes are up for grabs. The puppets from the 1980s show Fraggle Rock and props from the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance are also looking for their forever home. Although bidding has been underway since late October, the live auction for these items and much more begins November 25th.
Ooh, Miss Piggy is my favorite.
You like Miss Piggy? I'm more of a Cookie Monster type of guy, Courtney. All right, that's it for tonight's edition on Cronkite News. I'm Keon Russell.
And I'm Courtney DeWallaby. Thank you for joining us. And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.